All right. Everybody ready?
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. Welcome back, guys. We are live from Schubel Vision in Texas, and it is an atrium hotel. It's actually pretty nice here, this hotel.
It sure is. It's
Mhm.
beautiful. We're ready for an awesome weekend of Tick.
Yep, we have viewers and guests alike, IFCO members out there and potential IFCO members in the future. So we need to do a good job in sharing IFCO message as well.
Okay.
Now we have.
Frank, can I just mention something on that?
I knew you would. Yeah, please have.
We were just speaking over
Coffee.
at Parker University. And of course, we had a chance to speak with the president over there, Brian McCauley,
Okay.
Dr. Brian McCauley. And we were sponsored by the IFCO club on the campus. And we
Awesome.
have had a number of people that attended sign up for IFCO that are going to be here this weekend at Schubel Vision.
Nice, that's outstanding.
Mhm.
And I was chatting with you guys the other night about the Parker experience over there.
Yes.
And you were saying it was packed. Really.
It sure was. We had almost 100 people in
Wow.
in the room, and Dr. Nogrady spoke first for a half hour that turned into 40, 50 minutes, and then I had about 5 minutes to speak, but of course I did a great job, I must say.
Now you know how it feels.
Yeah.
Are you little? That's it, Bourla.
All right. So what's special about this
Yes.
round of IFCO-TV, it's commercial free. First time
Uh-huh.
we're doing commercial free, so there's no commercials airing, or shouldn't be, at least. You let me know if there is. Throw it in the chat box. We have
There's no commercials.
No,
Yeah.
let's put this away.
Yeah. we can create our own commercials,
Right.
but it's just not outside people creating them for us.
Got it.
Yep. And then we're
Schubel
gonna.
Vision.
There's a reason why we created IFCO TV, guys. And when we were in the board meeting brainstorming how to reach the members more with
Yes.
the new technologies that are out there, we said, well, what if we created an IFCO TV like program, and we didn't have the name yet, but it was a way for us to reach more people. Because sometimes they can't make it to the seminars. Like some
right.
people have a distance barrier where they might be on the other side of the world or the other side of the country and can't make it. Or they might have a financial barrier where they can't afford to go to one of the seminars. So we wanted to do something like this, which ICO stepped up and is making it free. And I don't know any other chiropractic organization that's doing anything like this for the members, but we wanted them to experience a little bit more chiropractic in their lives.
You know, that's right, Frank. And there's people that are going to be watching this right now. We're good for Europe. They can be watching this. They're only about 5 hours ahead. I know a lot of Europeans were saying they were looking forward to the broadcast today because in many of the schools there, they're not getting the chiropractic message. There are some schools over there, Barcelona Chiropractic College, for example, McTimoney, where they are getting the message. But there's other schools where they're not. And so this is one of the ways that we can connect with them and show them that they are not alone. Same thing in Australia. We've had Australia and New Zealand contact us and say they're probably going to be watching this on the replay. But yes, IFCO stands for International Federation of Chiropractors and Organizations. This is not an American gig. Of course, the central office, the home office is in America, but it could be anywhere in the world. And the internet certainly makes it possible for us to all communicate and be together. I've been very excited in what we're seeing in Europe lately as far as the IFCO. It's lighting on fire, and the membership is increasing exponentially over there.
Awesome.
Thanks to the work of people like you, Dr. Hahn.
And
from
many
New
others.
Jersey.
I'm just a face in front of the program, but there's lots of people in the back helping out with it. But let's get with Schubel Vision now.
Yeah.
So what's going on? Well, let's introduce. Everyone knows Jack Bourla, right?
Yes.
The California King.
Yes. Yes.
Let's leave it right there.
The dipstick guy.
Dr. Judd Nogrady from New York.
The non-dipstick guy.
And then we have the big deal, Liam Schubel.
That's right.
Yeah, awesome. So gang,
Yes.
who wants to field this question? Why was Schubel Vision created? Who want? Maybe Judd. Why don't you hit that one up, and then Liam follow up.
Schubel Vision was created to ignite the passion of chiropractic in people's lives. It's not only about passion. It's about bringing success into your office, success into your life, and passion into all the things you do. It seems like lately people are taking this chiropractic lifestyle and making it into like a green shake. And the chiropractic lifestyle is so much larger than being afraid of your food. It's so much larger than giving someone a back rub. The true belief and the true understanding of being a chiropractor makes your whole entire life at an elevated level.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, I remember sitting in a masterminding session with Dr. Bourla and Dr. Nogrady, and we were noticing that as we were traveling around the world, speaking to many diverse audiences about chiropractic, one thing that we noticed was that in many cases, the schools, the students are not learning who they are as chiropractors, what they do as chiropractors, or why they're even doing it in the first place. That's number one. And of course, the practitioners, in many cases, because they've learned at these type of schools, they don't know. And they're lost, and they're hurting, and they're feeling an empty life. And so what we are providing with Schubel Vision, if they're not going to teach it at the schools, we decided we're going to bring it to the schools. And by the way, we're at schools that they don't teach it. We're also at schools that they do, because you can never get too much of this stuff, because you got to understand, we're living in crazy town. I mean, this idea of chiropractic, which is a big idea, is something unusual for most people on the planet. And so what we have to do if we want to make this shift or this change is we've got to get a bigger vision. One of the things I say in my smash hit book, Has to Be Chiropractors, is the bigger the vision, the bigger the life. And the vision that we share, Jack Bourla, if you could share that with the folks here out in TV land, if you could share what the vision is at Schubel Vision, and talk a little bit about living for something bigger than yourself. That's and how that creates abundance in your life.
Yeah, one of the things that we've found is that as we travel around, we speak to our colleagues and our friends, is that they are hurting, and they're hurting not because they didn't pay attention. They just weren't exposed to the things that will make them successful. Clearly, communication is a big thing, for sure, which is why we have Schubel Vision now. But more than that, we really want people to engage. There is a movement going around now, and it's actually started in the 60s. People are really trying to discover who they are, what their purpose on this planet is. And we would like to help bring that out for the people, especially the chiropractors. We have a very unique opportunity because we touch our people, we talk to them, we care for them, and the people that come to see us really are engaging. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that the chiropractors that are serving the people that they're supposed to serve are doing a great job. And the great job would be taking care of them.
That's right.
The vision that we have is that every man, woman, child, from the time they're born until they take the last breath of air, they're checked for vertebral subluxation, because we know that subluxations are a detriment to one's life expression. That's what we're here for.
Right, and that's going to require, as you all know, a change in the cultural authority for health. And there's no way that we're going to be able to bring about that change or that shift if we don't have the certainty and the understanding of the power of chiropractic and how we as doctors of chiropractic are crucial to that transformation and evolution of the planet. And that's what Schubel Vision is all about. Dr. Nogrady was talking to me the other day. I thought this was a brilliant strategy, is to eventually develop a group of 1,000 committed individuals in chiropractic. And when I say committed, I say we have a political action, we all show up, 1,000 of us in a room. We have something that needs funds, we all pony up and we make that happen. Imagine if you just had 1,000. I mean, in this profession where apathy runs rampant, and I always say the apathy in this profession will lead to allopathy for this profession. That's one of my quotes that I always say.
And you say it well.
Thank you very much for noticing.
You're welcome.
So anyway, that apathy is what is killing us. It's what's limiting our potential to get to the 100% of the people on the planet. And that's what Schubel Vision is, creating these people that are on fire for chiropractic, that have the understanding, the knowledge, the tools, the tips, and the strategies that it takes to bring chiropractic to the world.
That's right.
Right. Liam, I know you had 80 people in Parker when you spoke.
Mm-hmm.
And who should be coming here to the seminars?
Yeah, well, to be clear, it was 80 people. I like to say close to 100.
Close to 100,
right?
Yeah.
Who should be coming to the seminar?
Round up.
Yeah.
Round up. It's Chiro math. So
There were thousands.
Who should be coming to the seminars? I would say anybody that is looking to step up their game. Anybody that is saying, am I giving enough? Am I doing enough? Am I serving enough? Am I inspiring my community to take action? Am I becoming the cultural authority? Do I feel weak? Do I feel powerless? Do I feel like I could do more? Do I feel like that I could make more? Do I feel like that I could make a bigger impact on the planet? If you answered yes to any of those questions, well, then you need to be at Schubel Vision, because we bring in some of what I believe the premier chiropractic practitioners on the planet that are experts at communicating chiropractic in a way that transforms and evolves their communities. Right. These are people that are not on poverty level consciousness, folks. These folks are creating abundance. They urinate excellence, if you will. Okay, and so
absolutely,
that's the kind of people.
You.
Tony Robbins says success leaves clues. Those are the kind of people that you need to start connecting with if you are going to be a part of this change that we wish to see in the world.
You know, go ahead, Joe.
I think one of the most common things we have with our speakers is that the thing they're doing is they're living for something larger than themselves.
Very good.
They've fully vested themselves in chiropractic, and that because they're so vested in the community and people around them, they are more successful.
That's right.
They're not more successful because they're questing for the dollar. They're more successful because they're more worried about giving more service for less.
Better service.
Better service for less.
That's right. And our speakers are talking about abundance, not only financially, but they're talking about abundance in your family life, abundance in your spiritual life.
So there's giving back constantly.
Yes, there's many aspects to that.
And not one of our speakers is the same. We have a real diversity of speakers. So you can look, and you can come to any one of our seminars, and you will find something that you will resonate with. And one of the things that we do is we like to challenge people to either agree with what we're doing or disagree with, and then challenge that agreement or disagreement, so you develop convictions about who you are.
We do have quite a few of your speakers on the program coming up tomorrow. So that's going to start at 10 a.m. Texas time. That's going to be. So that's going to be 9 a.m. What is that, 9 a.m. New York time?
You said 10 a.m. Texas time? That'll be 11 a.m. New York time.
New York time. And what time will be in California time, Jack?
2 hours before that.
2 hours before that. So that will be...
It will be 8 o'clock.
8 a.m. on the West Coast.
West Coast.
Pacific Standard Time.
So what time will it be in Europe?
It'll
be 5 hours after that. And by the way, speaking of Europe, I do want to mention we will be doing, and people are very excited about this. We've been asked by many excellent practitioners in Europe to bring Schubel Vision to Europe, and we'll be doing that in the beginning of 2015, which would be next year. So you can get more information on that when we release it officially at www.schubelvisionworldwide.com. And of course, I'll be speaking, guys, in another 2 weeks at Ross McDonald's, who's another IFCO member, Ross McDonald's phenomenal event, which is the Edinburgh Lectures in Scotland. So we'll be talking more about that and making more of an official announcement at that premier event for Europe.
Yeah. Guys, we are on live IFCO-TV. If you can share this on your social platforms, it's IFCO-TV, IFCOChiro.org/live. Here's the reason why we really need you to share this too. IFCO is stepping up and bringing this to you for free. It doesn't cost you anything, and you're sitting at home or wherever you're watching the show, and you're getting some valuable information. Share that, post that on your platforms so everybody else can enjoy it too. Jack, why don't you tell us what your role here is in Schubel Vision this weekend?
I represent the elderly. We have all recognized that we have certain talents, and so we try to utilize those talents. Mine is I'm actually the MC.
Okay.
And so I kind of keep things on track. We keep things rolling. We all work on the promotion of Schubel Vision. But mine is primarily to keep Liam off the mic.
Nice. and if I could add to that. If I could add to that. Is this mic on? If I can add that. Jack adds a special atmosphere. Anybody who knows him, Jack is probably one of the most loved persons in the profession. He exudes love in every aspect of his being. And I think that's one of the special things. I enjoy working with you for that reason. And that's one of the things that I think everybody feels comfortable. They feel at home here, no matter what their style of practice. This is not one of those hate-straight organizations. This is everybody's welcome. The message here is very clear, by the way, but everyone is welcome in a loving environment. And I think, Jack, you're the epitome of what we try to attain as far as that loving family environment here at Schubel Vision.
And that's what we want to create. It's really a family environment.
Judd, maybe you can answer this question. How Schubel Vision sort of come together? How did you get involved with these two to create Schubel Vision?
Schubel Vision came together in one moment because I don't want to get his head any more swelled. Okay, so we're going to say Schubel.
Oh, Schubel.
Schubel pushed me to kind of go out to the colleges and see what was going on.
Right.
And it was a phone call and a bunch of free plane tickets that promoted me to go out there and talk to the colleges. And I had been practicing almost 17 years without going back into the schools, and I was absolutely shocked at what they consider mainstream chiropractic had become. I'd been very, very, very lucky, and I don't like the word lucky, but I like the word lucky, that I'd always had a busy practice. I'd always had a practice that provided more than I really needed. And when I went into the schools and saw they were teaching that chiropractic wasn't enough, and that somehow we had to change what we did as chiropractors to be successful, I was first really, really angry.
Mm-hmm.
But
you wouldn't like him when he's angry, by the way.
And my first few things I had to do is that when I met some of these educators was to keep my cool, because I wanted to not go to jail.
Right.
And then I started thinking, and I said, anger is only going to get me a few moments of satisfaction. What will get me a lifetime of satisfaction is getting people to understand the power of chiropractic. And it's not just how you do. It's so integrated into my life that there's I don't have a chiropractic job that I go to.
Right.
I'm a chiropractor.
Yeah.
And what they're teaching, it seems like that as a chiropractor, you somehow fit into a medical model, or that somehow you fit into some kind of prescribed way. I mean, chiropractic is larger than any one person. It's larger than any one technique. It's larger than green smoothies. It's larger than guys chasing $1.
Right.
Chiropractic, there is so many ways to practice and be successful. I'm almost in shock that they're teaching that it's not enough.
Right.
So what happened was I went to the schools. I first went, like they say you have different phases of, I went through rage phase, which I went home and was ready to kick the dog, and you can't say strap on a bomb anymore.
Right,
so I wasn't going to strap on a bomb.
Yeah.
But I was going to kick the dog and write horrible letters and do horrible things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, let's go start talking to the schools.
Right.
And what's amazing to me, kids can spend 2-3 years in a college being told what chiropractic isn't.
Right.
Then you go expose them to it for an hour, and they call you, they hound you, they come to your house, and they want to learn true chiropractic. That's not the power of the speaker. That's the strength of chiropractic. Yeah. The strength of the truth is so huge that no matter how much they try to bury it underneath the crap that they try to teach us, that as soon as you expose a student to what they're really capable of with their hands,
and
I'm not talking about a back rub, okay, and I'm not talking about all the way up, okay, and I'm not talking about the wink sign, okay. I didn't even know what the wink sign was, and we don't have to discuss it here.
In California, they understand.
Oh, God, dipsticks, we're really good.
Without doing that nonsense, you actually can be beyond successful explaining the chiropractic principles to clients and adjusting their spines.
Right.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
You could be successful doing just that all day long. So how Schubel Vision got started was Schubel pushed me to be a little more than I was, which was enjoying the chiropractic lifestyle, which is making a success of myself, doing what I wanted to do, to hanging out with him, which is something I don't want to do.
What?
But we're talking about chiropractic to the people.
Yeah.
And that's how Schubel Vision started.
It's a responsibility.
And
it's Tom Gilardi was on the show a while, and he talked about the mission of chiropractic, and that is vital. That sets the tone for everything you do beyond that. If you're off your mission, then you're off the message of chiropractic.
And there's such a thirst for it, Frank. I got to tell you, yesterday when we were speaking at the school, and by the way, this I just want to be very clear. Anything I say is not a bash on the schools themselves. I think one of the things that Judd Nogrady likes to say,
the CCE is giving us some real serious trouble.
That's what Judd Nogrady says. I don't say that, but he says that often.
And nicely.
He says it that way.
Pleasantly.
So anyway, that's what he says. And so at any of these schools that
they really are run by and controlled by CCE regulations.
Right, that's what he says.
Yes.
That the students are hungry for
Real
chiropractic. And yesterday we spoke for an hour, and we were stopped in our tracks by a plethora of students for another hour asking us specific follow-up questions and details about chiropractic and the successful practice of chiropractic. Same thing happened to us in Davenport. There were people in tears when they said, my goodness, I knew this thing called chiropractic was something special and not a complementary medical procedure or a manipulative, therapeutic, second-rate sham type of profession, I knew this was something awesome, and you guys brought it, and now I'm on fire to bring it to the world.
It's not just the students; it's the doctors.
Thank you.
The doctors come in equally as enthusiastic after they've sat here for a day and a half.
That's right.
And how many times have we gotten doctors who said, "You guys have revitalized my passion to serve more"?
Yeah, and I got to tell you, some people have an issue with spiz. Like there's no need for a spiz or an emotional or a passionate seminar. And I have to tell you, I just got off the phone with Dr. Donnie Epstein, who's probably one of the leaders in just the movement of optimum human potential on the planet. And, he called us and he said, hey, listen, guys, I really wish you the best on Schubel Vision this weekend. And he said, I could feel the spiz already in your voice. And he goes, it's that passion. This is a guy who knows about energetics, okay? And he's saying it's that energetics that creates a shift within other humans or individuals or within the field itself and transforms and evolves the planet. And so he wished us the best for this weekend. And I'm telling you, if Donnie Epstein's on your side, what do we say? That's not a bad thing. And by the way, I'm not saying he supports us or whatever. I'm just saying he said some nice things. He really should. We need him as a sponsor. But anyway, that was the story there. So I'm excited about what we're doing this weekend. Yeah. When you get a guy like at that level calling you up and wishing you well, it just makes you feel real good about what you're doing.
Yeah. Hey guys, you're gonna like this. We have a guest. I don't know their name yet, but they just joined the IFCO, Chiropractic World Domination. They put in there, so that's pretty awesome. That is fantastic. Just joined. So
thank you.
Passion is the driver. I'd love you to tell a professional athlete that, you should play at a professional level, and you shouldn't have any passion about playing.
Right.
Passion is the fuel.
Yeah.
Okay? Right. Just go in there and do these mechanical action steps. Right.
Passion is the fuel that drives you for a lifetime.
So Liam, what's actually holding chiropractic back from chiropractic world domination?
Well, I've had this conversation many times with Irene Gold, who I respect highly. And I think, Judd, did you just write a book recently with Irene Gold?
And it was actually a pleasurable experience.
Well, what's it called?
It's called Gold.
Okay. Good.
Nice.
Well, anyway, I happen to read that. I'm kind of like, we're doing a little thing here. I actually read it. I thought it was great.
Thank you.
So I had this conversation with Irene Gold, and I asked her, because I know what I think what's holding us back is. I asked her, and this is a woman with... I can't say how many years of experience in the trenches in chiropractic, and of course married to one of the icons of chiropractic, Reggie Gold, who understand the science, philosophy, and art of chiropractic, and they live it. It's part of their being. And talk about living for something bigger than yourself. And I said, what do you think it is? And you know what she said? The number one thing holding back this profession is the ability to communicate chiropractic. And she said, how on earth can you communicate chiropractic if you don't know what it is? If you don't know who you are as a chiropractor, what your role is, and you don't know why you're even doing it in the first place. So I felt pretty good when I talked to Irene, and she was in agreement that communication is the number one factor for success in chiropractic. And you'll hear in different perspectives throughout the weekend, expert communicators in chiropractic, and you'll be able to absorb those tips and strategies on how to communicate chiropractic effectively, and that's got to have a positive impact in your community, and that means it's going to bring us closer to, as the most recent IFCO member, and thank you for signing up, says, it's going to bring us to CWD, Chiropractic World Domination, where every man, woman, and child on the planet is checked for vertebral subluxation and adjusted when necessary from birth.
Awesome. Judd, I want to hear a little bit more about the Irene Gold book experience. What was that like?
Spending time with Irene Gold is like spending time with the ultimate powerhouse, and someone who lives and breathes something bigger than herself.
Right.
And spending time with Irene Gold was one thing. Interviewing people who talked behind the scenes about Irene and Reggie was the most eye-opening thing.
Wow. And
what they said, every single person said the same thing, which is that she went above and beyond any amount of money I ever paid her. That I've had people call me, not one, not two, not 10, hundreds of people say the same story, which is 4 o'clock in the morning, she woke me up to go over certain things to pass the boards. 2 o'clock in the morning, she got me out of my bed. This is somebody who's been doing a board review more years than I'm going to say.
Yeah.
That has so much passion and so much love to see chiropractors pass the boards. I'm not saying people called me and said, yes, it was a great experience going to the Irene Gold review. She really knew her stuff. People would say she was the most knowledgeable person I ever talked to in chiropractic and in the stupid tests. And everyone usually said stupid tests. They said, I got more value for my dollar than I ever could imagine. and she knew who I was even 20 years later.
That's right.
Right.
She woke me up in the middle of the night and quizzed me. There were certain people who, after one part of the board, were going to quit. And somehow Irene Gold, and not one person said this, I mean many people, she got the word through the grapevine that a person wasn't going to take part 2. The second part of the board that she had prepared them for.
That was me.
Okay, well, that was one. You're one. And she actually got on the phone. Some people she drove to their house.
Wow.
Some people she got into their car and went to the hotel where they were staying and then knocked on their door and said, "This is Irene Gold. You're going to take the test. This is why."
Oh my goodness.
So this is somebody
Yep.
with 300 people in front of them
Mhm.
hearing about one person.
Right.
Okay, and if you asked her why she did it all, and she'd say, "Because we need more chiropractors."
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And Irene said that I did my board reviews to get people to become chiropractors,
Mhm.
but I also did them because it gave me a platform to talk about chiropractic.
Right.
And she said it was amazing to me. Students would be thirsty about chiropractic after thirsty about learning what chiropractic really is after spending 14 hours doing a board review.
Wow. I'll tell you what, I was very fortunate in my short chiropractic career so far. I spent lots of time with Irene and Reggie, and I was the board rep at our college, Sherman College, for the Irene Gold board review. And I'll tell you what, I went through the curriculum at Sherman College. Sherman College is a great school, and when I sat in for the board review, the x-ray portion of it, it's like lights went on. I finally learned how to analyze x-rays. I finally learned how to read x-rays.
Many people said they learned more in a week at Irene Gold than they did at 3 years at college.
Isn't that amazing?
So the colleges could talk to Irene
Yeah.
Gold about how to get an effective program
And-
because she can teach you more about chiropractic in 3 weeks than they can in 3 years.
And it's no slight on any of the colleges. They,
Oh, of
they,
course
they
not.
have
They're all
a
great.
they have a proper order that they need to go through to teach you and introduce
The
you.
wing test is really important. I've used that a lot in my practice.
I don't know what the wing test is.
The wink.
Are
Oh,
you-
wink.
By the way,
Okay.
are you guys doing straight leg raisers on babies, or what are you doing?
No,
I'm a baby of
since I
specific
learned about
flavor.
this, since I learned about this wing test,
Yeah.
I'm getting into it, especially on the better looking patients.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, the Stevens flexion
Yeah.
test is key.
Bless your dear sweetheart.
Thank
for
you.
that.
Yeah,
Thanks
I
for
got
that.
it now.
I think actually,
I gotta edit that.
I think if you do the
Can
wing
you?
test in New York State, I think it's
Yeah.
illegal. I think they'll
Yeah.
put you in jail.
Yeah, they
Just as a
probably will.
disclaimer.
They
Where do I
should.
reside?
Yeah.
Liam, that's a very nice ascot you're wearing.
Why, thank you so much.
Let's
For
get
noticing.
that conversation off a wink test.
Well, this ascot represents truly one of the great men in chiropractic, which is Fred Barge, one of my greatest mentors in
Mhm.
chiropractic. There were Fred Barge, if you didn't know who he was, look him up on YouTube, and they have some of the videos of him speaking. He spoke in this grand Shakespearean style, and he wore a beret, and he wore an ascot, which I had never seen other than Gilligan's Island with Thurston Howell III.
Yeah.
And he had this ability to, when he walked into a room, you knew that this was an important man with an important message. And so I wear this ascot in memory of Dr. Fred Barge, and to remind me and everybody who sees it that the work that you do on this planet is what really, truly makes you immortal. It's what, today, we just mentioned Fred Barge today, and he's been gone out of this planet, for quite some time now. But he's going to live on forever from the people that we influenced this weekend, the good works that he did. He didn't have to do it. He came into the school and talked to us. He was a successful practitioner, didn't have to work, could have retired early, and he came in and he spoke to these lowly 2 chiropractic students, Judd Nogrady and Liam Schubel, while we're at Sid Williams School. And I'm sure you've had some interaction with him as well. And this is the kind of leaving that legacy. And the way you do it is through your good works while you're on the planet. And so what we want to do at Schubel Vision is inspire you to do more good works through the power of chiropractic.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, the person who just signed up to become an IFCO member, his name is Ben Oyen.
Oh, yeah.
Ben.
Hey,
Ben.
Dr. Ben.
All right. Shout out to Dr. Ben.
Yeah,
Awesome.
actually, I spoke to him. I was speaking in Chiro World, which, as you know, is in Omaha, Nebraska. Last weekend, I was in Omaha, Nebraska, and I actually, I don't know if I mentioned this, I have a book. It's called Cast to Be Chiropractors, and Dr. Ben purchased one of these, and I signed it for him, and he said he couldn't put it down. He said it was a great read.
Mostly the Nogrady section, I think.
Right.
It was a great week because he worked so hard on it.
I could probably bore you with all the great things he said about it, but if you wanted to find out for yourself, you could go on Amazon.com, and there's a lot of great reviews about the book, and that would be a good place for you to purchase it. Because I have to tell you, you read this book, and you are going to be inspired to do more great things. Take my word for it. Even Judd Nogrady will back it up.
Awesome. How can everybody reach you here at Schubel Vision?
At Schubel Vision, you can get us at www.schubelvisionworldwide.com. That's SCHUBEL visionworldwide.com. Also, you can reach out and email me at Liam Schubel, LIAMSCHUBEL, at hotmail.com. And I'm one of those guys who actually answers my email.
Awesome.
Or you can contact us on that website, www.schubelvisionworldwide.com.
Or our Facebook page.
You could Facebook page.
Well, do you do Facebook?
Yes, and I must tell you, and Jack, that's a great point.
Thank you.
We have one of the largest Facebook pages on the planet. We have well over 4,000 people that are on this page. You can get connected with that and then get in tune. We've got some great things, great content that comes across there from some of our great participants that you can get on. That, of course, is free. I have a personal fan page that you might want to check out to be connected. And there's just so many opportunities to up your game in chiropractic. And anything we can do to help you, please feel free to reach out to us, and we're more than happy to help.
Jack, you often say you want to transform the planet to become a more loving place.
Yeah.
What do you mean by this?
You know, I'm just a loving kind of a guy.
Yeah.
And I think that once people are able to express who they really are intended to be, things change. Look at anybody. Look at any household who's under chiropractic care. They're different. Look at our children. You can go to almost any seminar and people will bring their children, and the children behave differently. First of all, they're healthier, but they just behave differently. They're more loving, and I think it's because that their nerve systems are clear. And so our hope is that if we can really get chiropractic to go worldwide, not this 3.4% that we see in the U.S., but if we get chiropractic to go worldwide, we will start with the children. And if we can raise children to be their full potential, you can't help but have a more loving planet.
Something that's awesome, Jack. I really appreciate you saying that too, because it's very, very important. We need to get the message out there to more people. We can't just be satisfied with seeing 50, 100, 200 people in our offices a week. That's ridiculous. We need to get more people. There's thousands and thousands of people out there in your community that you can just simply talk with them, have them come in the office and learn and understand what chiropractic is. And so I get pretty passionate about that too.
Yeah, Frank, I've been to your office, and it's phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
filled with kids and families.
Absolutely.
Judd, I've seen the same with you. Dr. Jack, I know your situation. I have 18 offices in Latin America. We're in the same situation there. And, you know, some people, they don't, there's two things that happen when you talk about seeing high volume of people. One is that people think you can't give good quality care, right? Well, I have to tell you, the people I love most on the planet, no offense, guys, are my children. Okay, I would do anything for my children. To check and adjust them when they're subluxated takes me less than a minute. So why should we be spending more time with somebody who's a practice member? And this requires, by the way, this style of practice requires certain communication strategies, certain pre-framing techniques in order to create that environment as normal. Because the average person who comes into your office, they don't understand at all what you're doing. So they're comparing to medicine, and they're saying, well, the medical doctor spent 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes with me. Why are you only spending a minute or two? And this requires education, and this requires communication on our parts. We have to take an active, proactive role in order to communicate and pre-frame what is going to be normal for these people. And you know, Jack, you stated chiropractic children are just different.
They're different.
You know, they perceive the environment differently. And when you're seeing volume, those numbers are not an ego trip, because a lot of people say, oh, 200, 300, 400, 500, you're just, you know, doing that for your ego. Listen, those numbers represent humans. And if we're about human potential, I don't know about you, but with the short time that I've been given on this planet, I want to make the maximum amount of impact. So the more people that I can see, the better the community that I'm serving is going to be. And so that's what we teach at Schubel Vision seminars.
And if we can empower the people who come to understand that
Their full potential.
that they really have an impact on their community, that's when things start to happen. And so that's what we're hoping to have.
Judd, where do you see the future of chiropractic moving towards?
I see the future of chiropractic moving in two directions. We have a large group of people getting into chiropractic because they don't want to do chiropractic. And for the life of me, I haven't been able to understand why somebody would go to a chiropractic college when they really want to be a physician's assistant.
Right.
There's so many avenues to go into the medical world.
So many.
I mean, you could
Absolutely.
be a nurse, you could be a physician's assistant, you could be a wing test administrator,
And totally accepted in that
and
model.
totally accept it. I mean,
Mhm.
and the public understands what you do. So I think those people would like to really change chiropractic into something else.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think that we're going to come to a time, and I'll put a timeline, within 5 years, we're going to have a large percent of the profession that wants to be in chiropractic but not chiropractors, which we can't even fathom the craziness of this.
Yeah.
So I think we should let them call the profession something else and let those colleges and those people go in a different direction. And I think that chiropractic itself will become stronger
Right.
with real chiropractic colleges. One of the most amazing things to me is that, you know what people ask me to teach them the most when I go to schools? Number one thing, how to adjust.
Wow.
And these aren't
Mhm.
first quarter, second quarter, or
Yeah.
first try. These are people really ready to graduate. None of them asked to come to see me at my house to do any testing, to do any neurological testing. Most of them don't ask about how to do financial stuff. They want to know, a graduating student, how I adjust people. So how I think the profession has to go is we have to have a split. That we have to have people who go into the profession because they want to become physicians. They have to either not allow them into chiropractic colleges, or those colleges who want that have to call themselves something else. And we have to get a group, even if it's smaller, a small group of schools that really are going to teach the chiropractic adjustment. Because there is nothing more embarrassing or nothing more ridiculous than spending 3 to 4 years in a chiropractic college and not know how to give a chiropractic adjustment,
Absolutely.
or even have a rationale of why you would. And for people who have been out of the profession for a while, who think this isn't true, I've had people come to me personally who have never done a chiropractic analysis, a pre and a post check, or an adjustment on anybody, and they're graduating a chiropractic college. So my question is, why would you go? It's the most insane thing I've ever been around. So you asked me earlier what prompted me, is that one of the first things that prompted me, people couldn't believe that I was adjusting people not based on their symptoms, that I
Wow.
wasn't addressing their illness, that I was actually saying that subluxation trumped everything else. That was amazing. And the second thing that amazed them is that I actually was adjusting segments of the spine they weren't complaining about. And third, that I was making adjustments at all and not doing dietary recommendations, not doing taping, not doing splinting.
You were doing chiropractic.
I was actually adjusting people, and that shocked recent graduates.
Liam, I can see the wheels spinning.
Yeah, you know, these are great
I
points.
can tell Judd fires you up.
Oh, he does, because they're great points that he's making. And, you know, Jack and Judd and I are always talking about utilization rates. You know, that's our concern, is the lowering of the utilization rate for chiropractic. Less and less people are using chiropractic. If you look at the history of the development and growth of chiropractic, when chiropractic was principled, when chiropractic followed the 33 principles and knew how to communicate those 33 principles and then to deliver the specific scientific chiropractic adjustment, during that period of time in the early 1900s, chiropractic was illegal. We went through a Great Depression. It was not covered by insurance, and yet the utilization rate every single year grew because chiropractors were powerful in their ability to communicate chiropractic. When the insurance age came along, our utilization grew even greater, but for a different reason. We gave up our principles and we were homogenized into the accepted medical mode. So that was really good for our utilization. However, we were being utilized as a complementary medical procedure. Once the insurance companies pulled the rug out from under us, that's when the utilization rates started to just dive bomb. And the reason was, we had sold out the principles, we had forgotten how to communicate it, and we had lost insurance, even though we have the legality to practice chiropractic, which I would argue in many cases, not really, because the way we practice chiropractic in the legal system, at least in the United States, you truly cannot practice pure, straight, principled chiropractic. There are some things that you have to do that are in this medical realm in order to practice the full legal on straight chiropractic. So, and how did that happen? That happened by us not getting involved in politics, which is why I'm so passionate about the IFCO. The game is, if you're not involved in politics, well, then politics controls you. Part of the thing with Schubel Vision is to take control, to take this profession back, to say, we got 1,000 people that are politically active. When there's an issue that we have to address, all 1,000 of them are going to be sitting in front of you saying, excuse me.
Don't steal my profession.
Exactly. We're taking this thing back.
Go be a nurse.
That's right. Plenty of physicians' assistants are needed. Leave.
Jack, so
Yes.
here this weekend, what's the guests going to learn from the speakers on this platform in regards to what Liam just spoke about?
It's up to them because they'll be given a tremendous amount of information. We've got diversity coming this weekend. We've got Dr. Jay Comeric, who you know is a phenomenal chiropractor, both for humans and animals. And so they're going to get a perspective about that they may not be exposed to. You're going to hear from Dr. Liam, Dr. Judd. I'll speak this evening as well. We have Dr. Sean Dill coming, who always stirs up the pot. Dr. Lacey Book, who reassembles the pot. We have Pam Jarbo coming. Dr. Eddie Weller. We never know what he's going to say, but it's always something powerful. The point is that we have diversity. And so they're going to walk away with whatever they're ready to hear.
Right.
They'll be hearing a lot of information. And what we want a cohesive message that is, it's chiropractic. You won't hear anything else but chiropractic this weekend.
You know, I'm really excited. You know who we also have? Dr. Edwin Cordero, El Presidente, who has, through principle, he did everything that everyone said you can't do, right? He said, we are eliminating anything that is not chiropractic from our campus. We won't take sponsorship from fruit companies and orthopedic things. We are going to take sponsorship from pure chiropractic companies. And if you're on board our mission, bienvenida, welcome. Yeah. And if you're not, hey, que Dios te bendiga. God bless you, and go do your thing. Right. We're about chiropractic. And what he's done is double the enrollment of that university or college, Sherman College of Chiropractic, in a question of 8 months, a year. So you talk about the principles of chiropractic. You talk about being separate and distinct and being proud of that and knowing how to communicate that in an inspiring way. Who Dr. Cordero is super inspiring. You can't spend 5-10 minutes with him without being inspired. Right. He's on fire, he's committed, and he's going to be here this weekend. And he's another speaker that we have that I'm very excited to have on board. And we're going to be at Schubel Vision Spartanburg.
I love them 12.
Right, at the center of the chiropractic universe in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Sparkle City, they call it, Jack. It's at the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, one of the most beautiful campuses in the world of chiropractic. We were there for Sherman Lyceum. It was great to see you there, I must say.
It was a pleasure being
there. Thank you.
Thank you for asking. Right. The other thing that we should say is that we have aligned ourselves, as Dr. Cordero has, with sponsors for our event. So Chiro Futures, for example, is one of our sponsors. We have the Texas Chiropractic Society, who's one of our sponsors.
Premier sponsors.
Well, a premier sponsor, and a very handsome one at that.
Yes.
We have Schubel Vision, who's also sponsoring Schubel Vision.
Hey.
We have the IFCO, and we also have Dr. Sean Dill, who's sponsoring based on his 90-10 marketing. So we have really taken our program and aligned it with that of straight chiropractic, in that we are just going to provide chiropractic.
Right, and Sherman College is sponsoring too.
That's right. Sherman College is sponsoring it, and Jack, if I could follow up on that,
I wish you would.
It's a rarity. I actually have something to say after that. What was that sign about?
No, I'm
anyway,
good. My last breath.
You know what we're seeing is a lot of people stepping up and saying, I had such a great experience with Schubel Vision that I want to make this experience possible for others. And we've had a lot of doctors and students stand up. A lot of the doctors don't want to be recognized, so I won't talk about them.
One doctor.
Who's that?
The heavy hitter.
Chiro Man, Lyle Coach.
Lyle Coach.
Oh my goodness. Well, he's at CrossFit right now.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I was just with him this weekend, so he is going to be on fire, and he's going to be talking about something that he says is a fad in chiropractic. It's coming back, called the adjustment. It's going to be interesting to see what he has to say.
The whole thing all on his own.
He sure does. So. And wow, I was at his office. What a phenomenal office he has. Totally principled and super successful. They see I think something in the neighborhood of 500 million people in a week, something like that. They're
per day.
Yeah, per day. Okay, good. But where was I going with that other thing?
With the students who are actually
That's the student.
Up.
So we had student Rick Bieski. I'm not real good at Bieski. Okay, Rick Bieski. He is a student at Palmer College. He also happens to have a phenomenal chiro art operation there. He's an artist, and he does some wonderful artwork. And you can check it out at the Schubel Vision Facebook page, some of his art. But he actually stepped up and sponsored 2 students from Northwestern
because of his experience
to come here.
So you're telling me
because of his experience.
A student ponied up and sponsored
a student was so inspired.
A student
That's right.
came up with money and sponsored 2 students.
That's right.
Yeah.
you imagine that? A student, sponsored
That's awesome.
students.
None of that, but I think is Jane Keller going to be here this weekend?
Yes,
She
Jeannie
will be.
Keller will be here
She'll be here.
representing Sherman College, which I'm very excited about.
I'm excited. Whenever she's around, things happen.
Well, you want to talk about passion for chiropractic
I'd
and
like
making
to.
it happen? Let's do it.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Well, we have a whole seminar this weekend.
Yeah.
Let's get started.
Jack,
Yes.
You said something last night. We were at dinner, and I just like started laughing to myself.
Oh, Lord.
What is sandwich moms?
Sandwich Moms. Well, speaking of food, Sandwich Moms is a new group of people on this planet, and what they are is they are the women, because we know that women basically make the decisions for the family in terms of healthcare.
Okay, yes.
These
you're
are
right.
women who are sandwiched between taking care of their children and their parents. It's a huge responsibility. And what we've decided in our office is to kind of cater to that group. And what we do is we make them feel very welcome at home in our office by bringing their children and their parents. Because we feel that if they really understand health, well-being, and life potential and expression thereof, that they will want all their family members to come. So that's what we focus on in our office. And
That's
because
awesome.
of that, we really have made an impact in our community.
Awesome. So you not only have them bring in the children, but bring in the
Their
parents,
parents,
as well.
absolutely.
Important.
Jack, is that a national or nationwide organization, or you just made that up, or how does that?
Sandwich Moms?
Yeah.
I heard about it on the internet once.
Okay. That's fascinating. So I would check that out if I was
Yeah.
you, doctor. You know.
So if you're looking to increase your practice, look at those. I mean, honestly, women make the decisions in terms of healthcare for the family. They have their children who they want to have full expression of their life potential, and their parents. And what it does is it reduces the stress that they're experiencing.
That's
Right.
great.
Yeah. Judd, what are you really looking forward to this weekend?
Other than
Don't say choking me.
Yeah.
That's that.
Dropping the mic.
I haven't dropped the mic yet.
You will. You will.
What I really look forward to is there's nothing more sad. It's like when you're in practice and you take care of people,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you try not to get caught up in that they're happy with your care.
Mhm.
But I mean, unless you're just a stone cold killer,
Yeah.
you adjust somebody, they come back and say, "My baby's healthy now." You know it's not you that did the healing, but if you don't at least feel good about that,
Mm-hmm.
then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And what I look forward to when I come to Schubel Vision is that there's got to be something wrong with you. If you don't, you have people come up to you after Schubel Vision, and not one, not two, but many, and say, "You've changed my direction in chiropractic."
Right.
I have people come up and say, "My wife wasn't for this before, and now she thinks that together we're in something bigger than ourselves."
Right.
And my 14-year-old son thought what I was doing was rubbing people, and now he knows I'm really integral to my community.
Mm-hmm.
And you have students that say, "I just graduated and I was absolutely lost." And the scary thing is they say, "Can you show me how to adjust?" And they say, "I want to do this thing called chiropractic." I thought it was like we were doing physicals.
Right.
So like in a very short span, a day and a half, you get people who knew something was missing. They didn't know what they were supposed to do. They just knew they were doing the wrong thing. They come to one Schubel Vision and they say, "I'm ready to dedicate my life to chiropractic." And they do it like that.
All right.
And that's
Right.
what turns me on. That's the thing that I come to Schubel Vision for. We have
Perfect.
our old dogs that come and they
Mhm.
sit and yep, I got it.
Yeah.
And you have to respect them because they come back and they understand chiropractic.
Yeah.
We have people who have been in chiropractic for 50 years who have said they're coming to every Schubel Vision across the country.
Yeah, right.
50 years in practice.
Wow.
We had one at our last one in Davenport. And by the end of the session on Saturday, he was in tears.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because he was so moved by what he had experienced for that weekend. And when you can do that as an organization, as a group, then you know you're doing your job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are looking to contribute more and to be more in society, and I think this is a platform for that. We also have a lot of students that actually bring their parents to Schubel Vision, so that their parents can understand why
they're
why they're being so tortured in school. What's the end goal to all the torture that's going on in school, all the expense, all the stress, all the tension? What's the end goal? And the parents leave here understanding better why their son or daughter is so passionate about what they do. So that's huge. Also have a lot of people that bring their families, doctors that are and students that are bringing their families along, their spouse, to get their spouse on board. Because wow, is it difficult to build a successful practice if your significant other is not on board with you. So this is a great place to bring your spouse or significant other to get them on board. A mission and a vision bigger than yourself, so that you all can thrive as a family. And that's true happiness, success, and abundance, folks.
Jack, how can people reach you if they want to get in touch with you?
They can call me at my office, 650-365-1473. They can reach me by email, drjackbourla@gmail.com, or they can hit us on the Schubel Vision fan Facebook page. That's the easiest way to get a hold of us because we check that regularly.
Great. Okay, guys. If you missed this episode, we're gonna have it recorded, and it's gonna be on our IFCO YouTube channel.
Perfect.
That's youtube.com/IFCOchiro. And it's really easy to get to. All our videos are on there in chronological order. Just click on the one that you like the best. Liam, let's start wrapping things up. It's getting close to our 4:30 mark. What's something we want to share with them about Schubel Vision on the way out?
Well, first of all, I just want to follow up on that point that you made about YouTube. You can go on that YouTube. If you could mention that again, and I'm sure you're going to put it across the screen here on the replay.
Definitely will.
Subscribe to that, because then
Absolutely.
you'll get updates when we add new content or material to it. And again, people from around the world that maybe are living, there might be the only chiropractor in the community. These kind of resources are valuable to your existence. And you know, you talk about Schubel Vision. What is it that I would like people to remember when they leave here? It's that you're not alone.
Right.
There are so many chiropractors just like you that want to make a huge impact on the planet, but maybe for their lack of schooling, you know, maybe they didn't have the same opportunities growing up that we had, the same mentors. They feel lost right now. They feel as if they're in some way impotent in the world of chiropractic, and certainly in their business world, and maybe in their financial world, and in their and that's having repercussions now in the world of their family. Schubel Vision is a place where you can come to with no judgment, and you can sit down and learn from ground zero the mindset, the communication strategies that you need, how to get that passion that you need to be able to bring chiropractic to the world. And when you own that, when that is yours, my friend, abundance comes to you naturally. See, Muhammad Ali said, I hated every minute of training when I was going through it, but I suffered through it anyway because I knew I wanted to be a champion for the rest of my life. At Schubel Vision Seminars, we create champions, and we are moving now towards creating the future doctor that will be crucial to the transformation and evolution of the planet, because that doctor will understand that they work with the power that animates the living universe, and they are the only doctor in the world that is highly trained to detect, analyze, and adjust vertebral subluxation. That entity that limits the optimal expression of life for all humanity, and for that matter, for dogs, cats, as we're going to hear from Jay Kamarick, anybody, any vertebrate can benefit from chiropractic care. You may not have known that before, but I'll tell you this. When you leave Schubel Vision, you're going to have that burning inside of you. And when you have it burning inside of you, you got to get it out. As B.J. Palmer said, genius is not property of the few. It's buried within us all. And one of the strategies that we have, one of the reasons for existence of Schubel Vision, is to release that genius within each and every one of our beloved brothers and sisters, practitioners of this glorious art, science, and philosophy of chiropractic. And it's a pleasure for me to be working with the caliber of individuals that I get to work with. I don't work, thank goodness, for a long time, I don't work for the need of money. I haven't had to work for money since I was 30 years old. I work more now, however, at 45 than I've ever worked in my life, because I see that we have a short period of time. As Dr. Judd mentioned, there's a 5-year window. If we don't do something quickly with a good strategy, and if we're not passionate about what we do, because Steve Jobs says you got to be passionate about what you do to be successful, because when it gets tough, and it's going to get tough, we're going to have some tough times, you got to be able to move through those tough times. And it's the passion that you're going to pick up hanging around with the speakers of Schubel Vision that's going to allow you to drive over, above, around, under, and through whatever perceived obstacle you have to reach the other side, which is, in my view, the promised land, and that's chiropractic world domination, where every man, woman, and child on the planet is checked for vertebral subluxation and adjusted when necessary from birth. And That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm passionate about. That's why I am on this planet. And that's why I work with my friends, Dr. Judd Nogrady, Dr. Jack Bourla, and Dr. Frank Hahn. You are crucial, too, with all the work that you do at IFCO. One of the absolute heroes in my book to be a part of this movement that we have to take chiropractic back and then give it to the people. It's huge, people. It's the big idea.
Isn't it funny how our vision and mission also aligns with that of the IFC?
Yes.
So it's a perfect blend.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
by the way, well, congratulations on your award. I
Oh,
understand
yes.
you won an award from the IFCO.
Yes.
oh, I did.
You
You
did.
did. You down in
Oh,
the
down
Dominican
in
Republic?
yeah,
Republic.
I did get an award.
See
Thank you very
how
much.
quickly I forget.
Absolutely.
We carried those awards back to the
We-
people
we
of the
did,
Republic
yeah.
of
We
Yeah,
actually
Dominican.
smuggled them back. But
It
that's
was a
okay.
New Jersey sweep.
Yeah, that Bosnian crystal is.
That is really nice stuff.
You know what? They're going to have to create some new awards for us this year.
That's exactly right. That's what I keep saying.
Yeah, great new awards. Guys, it was a pleasure. IFCO-TV running strong. We have a big day lined up tomorrow, 10:15 start time, Texas time, with Pam Jarbo.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep.
That's
So she's going to
fantastic.
kick things off for us. And that's going to be tomorrow. So we're going to sign off now.
Great. Yeah, Pam's going to be coming on hot from Austin, Texas. She was out in
Yep.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
She's phenomenal.
She is
Oh,
phenomenal.
what a
I really
loving
love her.
message she has.
All right. SchubelVisionWorldwide.com.
www.schubelvisionworldwide.com.
We'll see you soon.
Thank
Thank
you.
Guys, it was wonderful.
Is that a wrap?
It's a wrap. Let me
It's an IRAP.
click
There we
to
go.
record.
Speaking of IRAPs.
Good job. All right.